What is up, Mizzou fans? Welcome back to another post game on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com, covering your Missouri Tigers. He's Braden Dowers, and the Missouri Tigers just blew the doors off the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. There was some good, there were some things to worry about. We're going to break it all down right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, Missouri Tigers fans, welcome back into another post-game show here on the Show Me Football YouTube channel. Guys, your Missouri Tigers won today by a final score of 52-10 over the Ragin' Cajuns. We're recording this late in the evening after just about all the games have wrapped up. But, you know, Braden, this was one game among many that were a lot more important today. We were all watching the Mizzou game, but I think a lot of us were also taking today to watch, some other future Mizzou opponents to see what's going on around college football. And you kind of had this game on in the background a lot of the time. And the game was never in doubt from beginning to finish. We're going to talk about everything, the offense, the defense, Ahmad Hardy for sure. But Braden, what were your initial thoughts on this 52-10 victory for the Tigers today at home in 110-degree weather?
I did not go to this game because of the weather.
Why not?
And because we were favored by 28.5 points and I live 2 hours away. And I just didn't want to deal with any of that. And I was still pretty impressed by the initial turnout that Mizzou got for this game. But, I mean, it did clear out towards the second half. The start of the third quarter, there was almost nobody there. And I can't blame anybody for not being there because
even drinkwitz didn't.
It was miserable. And I disagree with you. The game was in doubt at one moment when we thought that Louisiana had a 100-yard touchdown return off of a Marquise Johnson fumble because he extended the ball over the goal line, which Kevin Coleman came out after the Kansas game, after a post game last week, and said something that I absolutely love that he said, that drinkwitz taught him not to extend the ball over the goal line, probably because of that Nate Pete play back against Auburn.
Nate Pete rule.
And gives me PTSD just thinking about it. So to see Marquise Johnson do that literally right after Kevin Coleman made that comment, a little bit disappointing. And you saw Drink on the sideline say never to do that again, with a few explicits in there. But yeah, I mean, this was just an absolute domination. Ahmad Hardy just made Louisiana look silly. Like, there's going to be a few of them that never want to play football again after today. And you can't really blame them when a guy goes for 250 yards off of 22 carries against you. I'm sure we'll get into a few of the struggles later, so I'll just continue to focus on the positives. Bo Prabula still looks absolutely amazing, made some really good plays, had one kind of bad interception. Matt Zollers came in with like 5 minutes left in the third, or like midway through the third quarter, and ended up only throwing 2 passes because they were just running the ball, trying to get done with this game so that they can move on and get ready for South Carolina and make sure that everybody got out of the game healthy, which was the main thing that you wanted to see from this game after you knew that it wasn't in doubt. And that's basically what happened. Like you said, I didn't really pay too much attention to the second half of this football game because I was busy watching other games, which, again, I'm sure we'll get into later.
I mean, the backups came in after like the first drive with the starters in the second half. The only reason to watch that game then was to see which young guys were maybe going to have a good performance and build for the future. But yeah, I mean, really, this game was just the Ahmad Hardy game. I said in the group chat and on my Show Me Football Twitter account at the beginning of the game, I was like, I think you can just kind of win this game with Ahmad Hardy by himself. And that was what proceeded to happen, was that Ahmad Hardy just went off 22 carries, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns. He easily could have had over 300 yards on the day if they really wanted to do that, but they're not trying to do that.
He could have got the Mizzou all-time or single game rushing record if they continued to play him.
Yeah, which I think was like 314 yards or something like
319.
That. Was it Devin West, I think, has the
against
record
Kansas
still?
In 1998.
Yeah, so yeah, he was He was amazing today. That performance was definitely up there in Mizzou running back history. And then Marquise Davis, the true freshman, came in a lot in the second half. And shoot, he looked really good too. 20 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
This is your number two. It's your twos on offense. Your number two running backs, of course, Jamal Roberts, who was also great. I mean, he didn't get that many carries, but he averaged almost 6 yards a carry. And then he had the big receiving touchdown on one of the really nice plays from Bo Perbula. The offense was it was a really fun brand of football to watch.
Yeah.
Just that pure domination on the ground. I mean, I just think the most impressive part about today is that one, Missouri ran away with the game, which they should. But again, and we said it after Central Arkansas, these are the types of games that in some years past, past seasons, Missouri wasn't really taking care of business the way they should. This would have been like a 38-21 game in the fourth quarter or something like that. I mean, it was over by the end of the first half. But even more impressive, I think, is that you were able to just win this game simply with your running game. Bo Perbula, although he was good, didn't really do that much through the air. 15 of 22 for 174 yards.
And a lot of those throws were just little dump off touch passes to Kevin Coleman. Like they ran that play at least 5 or 6 times.
And Bo himself had a really nice rushing touchdown. Now we said to each other, like, I don't really think you should waste Bo Perbula.
No,
or you shouldn't waste his, potential health by running him in this game with any designed runs. But hey, he looked good. I'll give him credit. He did have one bad interception, and it came just a few plays after what was also kind of a questionable throw from him. And I felt like this was the part of the game where the heat was setting in. The guys were getting tired. They already considered the game over towards the end of the first half because you had the interception from Bo, and it was like, what are you doing, man? He also had a throw that he hanged kind of high to Brett Norfleet at the very end of the first half. Should have been 6. Bo's usually money on those throws, so I'm just going to attribute that to everyone just like being exhausted already. Because then, not too long before that, you had the defense give up an 84-yard, or was it an 80-yard? I think something Russian touchdown.
It was an 80. I think you were right with the 84 yards.
Yeah,
touchdown.
And again, the game was never in doubt or anything like that, but it was just one of those, come on, guys, what are you doing? Play to the whistle, play to the end of the half, like just kind of getting lazy a little bit. And you don't want to see that.
Yeah. And they whatever drink yelled at them in the locker room that it didn't happen again. Like didn't let up any points after that long touchdown run because they had already gotten the field goal by that point. But you could tell that they had definitely already taken their foot off the gas, and the starters, their mind was out of this game already because they were up 35-3, and they were already focused on South Carolina and just wanted to be done with the game whenever they had already done what they knew was going to be enough because it was just that hot down on the field.
Yeah, 110 degrees on the turf. And you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, like, you're not going to blame anyone for not going out to that one. And I agree because even Drinkwitz said that after the game. Like, Drinkwitz has been really tough on the fans for showing up, or like if they don't show up, he'll let them know that he's pissed off. But he said today, like, guys, I get it. Like, it's hot as hell. They moved the kickoff time like 3 days before the game. I'm not going to blame the fans for this one. And they got out of there as soon as they knew the game was over. I mean, the stands were damn near empty by the end of the game because everyone was just trying to get out, understandably. But no, I mean, there were some, I'm not trying to excuse bad play at all or anything like that, but it was one of those days that you could tell that they were just trying to win and get out of there. They weren't trying to get anyone hurt. But still a lot of good things. I mean, look, the offense, when they were firing on all cylinders, I mean, they could score whenever they wanted. They were awesome today. They were 9 of 13 on third down. They went for it once on fourth down, and they got it. 32 first downs in the game. It was just like they ran the absolute hell out of the ball. 427 rushing yards in this game.
I don't think that Hardy got stopped for a loss once. Like it was 6 or 7 yards every single carry.
I think he had one run that got like -1 yard, but it was the only one. But man, it's like every single time you thought he might be getting brought down, he just kept going and he kept churning those legs. And man, I said to you in the group chat, but it's going to be funny when that SEC podcast makes their leading SEC rushers chart or graphic for this week, and Ahmad Hardy's going to have like 200 yards on the next closest guy in the SEC.
Yeah. I don't know how much Kawan Lacey did today against Arkansas. I know Ole Miss hung up a bunch of
I know he
points,
got
but it
hurt
seemed
at the
like
end.
whenever I looked, he wasn't getting too many yards, and he was the only person that was above Hardy, which is a little disappointing considering that
it still stings.
We had Kawan Lacey last year. But I'm still completely fine with Ahmad Hardy because watching him run, watching him bounce off tackles, watching him just – and honestly, I think a lot of it you can attribute to the offensive line because they opened just some absolutely gaping holes in the first quarter and a half. In pass protection, they weren't that sharp, and there was definitely a few plays where Louisiana was able to get pressure onto Bo, and you saw him take a few hits that made you quease because you're like, "Ooh, I don't like seeing Bo take a hit right here." And there was a few too many of those, but I think that was just because of there was plays where the Cajuns were sending 8, like they were sending 7 or 8 guys at the line.
Yeah. Well, and also
there's not much that you can do about that.
Well, and most of their pressure actually came off some like corner blitzes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's less on the offensive line, actually, in my opinion, more on the coaching. When you just have those blitzes that don't get – because and also a lot of that is the responsibility of the running backs too, to pick up the blitzes.
And Jamal Roberts, there was one of those plays where after Bo had gotten lit up, Roberts had a really good – it was on the play that Pribula threw the pick. Roberts had a really good blitz.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, and you want to see that be a little more consistent. Drinkwitz said after the game as well, he's not happy with where the pass protection is right now. He wants to see it improve, but and again, I really don't want to make it sound like I'm excusing the weaknesses on this team or the bad plays on this team with the weather and everything like that. But man, it really felt like after they went up, once they scored like 35 points, they're ready to get out.
Yeah, honestly. They definitely just took their foot off the gas. But I mean, within this game, there was still, and I think we only ended up letting up 5 passing yards or something.
4 passing yards.
4 passing yards. There
was still had more.
There was still one play where we got DPI where it's just like you can't be doing that. It was a Stephen Hall.
Yeah.
But literally right after that play, 2 plays later, he had a really good PBU. And overall, the secondary looked a little bit better, but I still have my doubts. I still have my concerns about them going into I can't even say that I have my doubts going into the South Carolina game too much because who knows if Lenore Sellers is going to be healthy. That's kind of why we waited to record this because there's the possibility of Mizzou getting college game day, and depending on what South Carolina did against Vandy, and South Carolina did not take care of Vandy, and Lenore Sellers is possibly out next week. It looked like he could have maybe broke his collarbone, maybe a head injury. Don't really know just yet, but it was bad enough that they had to take him out and he couldn't play anymore in a close game at home against an SEC opponent. So it has to be something that they're concerned about.
Yeah, for sure. And piggybacking on your point about the secondary, because it was really only one bad play that I remember, the DPI, and then there was another one where you thought they might call DPI that I think happened 2 plays after. But outside of that, they were pretty good. And look, I mean, let's be real. And the secondary has had their kinks to work out this season, but to hold any team to 4 yards passing total in a game, I don't care who you are, that's impressive.
Yeah. And Louisiana, they're not, unless they just lost so many starters on both sides of the football, mainly on offense. I know that they went 10-2 and were in the Sun Belt Championship last year.
Yeah, no, this is not ULM.
A respectable group of 5 school. They've won 10 games in 4 out of the past 6 years. Again, I don't really know how many guys they lost in the transfer portal, but if it's even half of the same returning cast and you just went out there and dog walked all over them, and like I said, like that was the kind of game from Ahmad Hardy and this Mizzou rushing offense that is just going to make guys on that Louisiana football team want to quit playing football. It's 100 degrees and you are just getting gashed every single play for 8 or 9 yards on the ground in 110-degree weather. And the mental toughness that you have to even stay in that football game and continue to try is something that I don't think that I could do, because that would just be the most humiliating, miserable experience I think I could possibly imagine.
No, for sure. And Louisiana, only 1 of 11 on third down. Defense did a great job on third down. Also, I want to point out that Corey Batoon and Drinkwitz both wanted to make it a point in this game to get after the quarterback a bit more this weekend. I thought they did a pretty good job. I thought, they, delivered on that promise to get to the quarterback more. You saw Batoon blitz a little bit more in this game. He didn't blitz. For sure. It was usually only one guy blitzing, but that was all they really needed. Khalil Jacobs was noticeable on multiple of them, got a sack in this game as well. He was awesome. Damon Wilson got another sack in this game.
Josiah Trotter got 2 more tackles for a loss.
Yeah, I know
it was 3rd and 1, and he just completely blew a play up. And it's
it felt like on the first drive of the game too, he basically just stopped Louisiana by himself. He had a tackle for a loss, and then immediately after, I remember saying it, he had a tackle while he was being blocked, but it just didn't matter.
And I think they got a holding call on that too.
Yeah, they did.
Trotter is just so good.
Yeah. Early candidate for SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Don't care what anyone says. I love having him on this football team. But no, look, the pass rush, I think, was a lot better today. Didn't need to do too much, if we're being honest. But I think I saw what I needed to see, and I think we saw what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
They got to the quarterback enough in this game. There was another one where Zion Young came really close. Chris McClellan, I noticed him get a few pressures in this game. I mean, outside of the one big run that they let up, I just really don't have too much bad to say about the defense. I thought, on the note of the secondary as well, I wanted to add, even though they got the penalty and there was the 2 plays where, they looked a little shaky, they weren't totally out of place like they were against Kansas. Now, I know it's a different talent level, but clearly this team can put a guy out there on the other team's receiver and, you can trust them to stick with them. They're at least going to be in position to make a play. That wasn't really the case against Kansas, and we got lucky quite a few times. I thought the coaches had them better prepared this week because, like we mentioned, the Stephen Hall pass interference, but then very next play after that, he got what was almost an interception, made a really nice play on the ball. So I think this team, there's still some kinks to work out. And that's another really big thing I wanted to hit on too, is that you're continuing to look really good while also still having a lot to improve on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've got better every single week at executing what they want to do. And again, I'm taking everything that happened today with a massive grain of salt, but they definitely look better in the secondary than they did against Kansas and than they did against even Central Arkansas, because there was a few plays in that game where it's just like you're thinking Lenore Sellers makes those throws, Marcel Reed makes those throws, Ty Simpson makes those throws, like all these SEC quarterbacks that you're going to be facing, Diego Pavia, Jackson Arnold, or I don't know if Jackson Arnold makes those throws because he just can't throw, but though there were a bunch of those throws in the first 2 games and a lot less of those today. And that might be a testament to just how bad Louisiana's quarterbacks are. But I think that was more just like we completely locked them up and there was not really any scenario where Louisiana could make completions if they had hit.
They were also trying to get the ball out as quickly as they could.
Yeah.
I think they felt the Mizzou pass rush breathing down their neck.
Yeah. The last thing that I really wanted to touch on, just as a negative or just any tidbit on this game at all, was the 41-yard field goal that Myers missed, which that has me very concerned to not be able to hit that. Again, it's late, it's hot, but you're a kicker and this is your first shot at a field goal over 40 yards and you push it so far to the right that it's not even competitive. Like, it's not something that you want to see from your backup kicker now, because Blake Craig is out for the year. So we're going to be going for it a lot on fourth down, I think. And that's going to scare me later down the road, but those will be the bridges that we cross when we get there.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about the kicking. It's a concern for sure. There's going to be a game or two this year where you're going to have to make a kick. I don't know which one it's going to be, but it's going to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen. That said, I really wish they gave. I'm not saying you don't want the offense to score or to not. It's just like the offense was so good that they kept getting in the red zone at the very least, to where we didn't really get to see Robert Meyer try more than a 35, 40-yard field goal, except for the one, and he missed it. And you wanted to see him make it, but I wish there was more opportunities for him to at least make one and see one go in and maybe build his confidence a little bit more. But now you're just still – your legs are shaking if he has to go out there in any scenario. But you're just gonna have to be more aggressive on offense to make up for it, and you're just gonna have to be more dominant than the other team. I will say though, good thing is I was watching the South Carolina game earlier. I don't think they have a kicker either. If that makes you feel any better.
I don't think they have much of a team.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, I want to hold off on that a little bit though, just because I have a few more things to say. I know this is weaker competition. This is a Sun Belt team, but we also saw this against Kansas last week, and we also saw it against Central Arkansas. But when this offense gets going, both running the ball and throwing the ball, I mean, because I talked all offseason how I thought this would be a ball control offense, and they dominated time of possession again in this game, 42 minutes to Louisiana's 17 minutes. And I think Mizzou had the ball for almost the entire third quarter. I mean, if you can do that to teams consistently, again, it's going to be really hard for anyone to beat this Missouri Tigers football team. And of course, you want to see it against SEC competition, and we will next Saturday. Although, man, South Carolina looks rough, so I don't know how much of a test that really is. Now, I don't want to make it seem like that's a layup either, but I don't know. Braden, what are your thoughts?
If Sellers plays, I think that game will be close. I still feel really confident about it because Vanderbilt was able to go on the road and put up 31 points against them in their home stadium at night. And I think that we are going to be able to put up significantly more against them at home, because I think that, I absolutely love watching Diego Pavia play football. Pavia Magic is one of the greatest storylines in college football right now, but Bo Pribula and Ahmad Hardy are better than him. And this entire Mizzou offense is better than what Vanderbilt has. And I think that they're going to just be able to impose their will on South Carolina like they have been able to against every other team so far, because I have not been convinced by any team that there is any chance of stopping this Mizzou offense. And until that's proven otherwise, I'm going to continue to believe that. So if South Carolina has absolutely no shot at stopping us, I'm going to go into the Bama game kind of expecting the same thing, probably to a lesser degree, because Bama's still Bama. Even though they lost to FSU, they looked really good against Wisconsin today. They have a really good pass rush. Ty Simpson looks legit. Their offense is a little bit worse overall, but like I said, Ty Simpson's a pretty good quarterback. But all of that's getting too far ahead. The point being that it's going to be really hard to stop this Missouri Tigers offense unless you are just one of the best defenses in the country. So unless we're facing, I don't even know who really has a good defense right now, because you usually expect Notre Dame to have a good defense, and they let up 41 points to Texas A&M in a loss tonight. You expect Georgia to have a good defense. They allowed points against an FCS school and then allowed 38 at home against Joey Aguilar in the Tennessee offense. I mean, Georgia should not have won that football game.
Right.
Then, I don't know, maybe Texas, but I mean, they gave up 10 points to UTEP. So there's a lot of question marks in the SEC right now. And I'm just munching at the bit to like get into SEC play and have this first game, see what we look like against South Carolina, then have the UMass game, and then it's Bama.
Yeah.
And
so
again, don't want to be looking too far ahead, but
no, I mean, I think all these are relevant points. I just think, look, when you have a team like this that can run the absolute hell out of the ball, but also has a quarterback who's money. There was one point in the game where I thought Bo might end the game with 100% completion. I mean, he was awesome early on whenever they asked him to throw. And like you saw, like they didn't really throw the ball much in this game. But when they were running that 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, like Bo was money that entire drive almost, besides the one missed throw to Norfleet in the back of the end zone. But I think he might have hit that if it was 20 degrees cooler out, not to make excuses for him. But
it'll be 75-ish next Saturday. And it'll be
a night game. But I mean, to be able to dominate time of possession like this, I think that's really valuable if your defense sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But Mizzou's defense doesn't suck, and I think they're only getting better in each passing game.
Yeah, for sure.
So that combination can lead to a very special season. So far, Mizzou has taken care of business against UCA. They beat Kansas by double digits and covered at home, and they just took the will of the Ragin' Cajuns today at home, 52-10. Their first
covered in every game.
SEC test, covered again. Covered by a lot, actually. They were favored by what, 28.5? I mean,
26. Whenever the line closed, I think it was at 27.5.
So yeah, I mean, they look good so far, and I think a lot of us are very excited about what this team can be. They have their first SEC test, this upcoming Saturday against South Carolina. Not to go full-blown preview for that game, but I think we can do kind of an instant reaction to the opponent. Yeah. They might be without Lenore Sellers. I already thought they were bad. And look, also, I've
been a lot more worried about the South Carolina game just because the memory of watching it last year, our game against them there, has mentally scarred me because that game was brutal with the way that we lost it. And Lenore Sellers gives me nightmares. So if he's not in this game, I feel a lot better. If he's in this game, I feel a lot worse, but I still feel confident with the way that South Carolina looked even with him on the field today.
I actually think I was always more concerned about Vanderbilt than South Carolina on the schedule.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because I thought this whole time that Vandy was better, just I thought that one could sneak up on you. Whereas I think this team knows what to expect with South Carolina. And now I just think South Carolina sucks, honestly. I mean, let's just say they've sucked at the beginning of the season, or they've sucked since the season started. And we were all kind of like, it's week 1. It's only week 2. Like they have Lenore Sellers. They'll figure it out. And then they got pounded today by Vandy. And granted, Sellers got hurt, but they weren't looking good even before Sellers got hurt.
I don't think that they would have won that game even if Sellers stayed in.
Yeah.
Because by that point, they were down 14-7 and they couldn't get anything going on the drive that Sellers got hurt, and then Vandy made it 21-7 and just ran away with it. And then I don't think we've mentioned it, but Dylan Stewart, Beamer, nobody really knows if he's going to be out for the first half against Mizzou.
No, he will.
Shane Beamer, I think, said that he would be.
Yeah, no, he will be, because I was looking it up earlier, and On3 came out with an article, because I know we weren't sure, but On3 came out with an article stating that Dylan Stewart will miss the first half of the Missouri game next week. He's automatically suspended for that because he got ejected in the fourth quarter for shoving a Vanderbilt player. So South Carolina might be without.
That's even better.
South Carolina might. Yeah, they might be without their best offensive player and their best defensive player for this Mizzou game, coming off an ass kicking against Vanderbilt. They're going to be on the road in Columbia, and I think it's going to be a madhouse night game. This is definitely still a game that you can lose if you F around.
For sure.
But Mizzou's just so much of a better team from what we've seen out of these two programs this year so far, and I think
You don't want to give too much into the rat poison, which is why I'm kind of happy that South Carolina lost and that we're not getting College Game Day, because we need to keep the national attention off this team for as long as possible.
Yeah, I honestly could not care less about not getting College Game Day.
Like at this point, I don't want game day. If we're undefeated going into Bama and Bama takes care of business against Georgia on the road, and then I think they play Vandy right before coming to us, I believe. They have a bye week next week, and then it's Georgia, and then I think it's Vandy, and then they come to us. So like I said, if they end up taking care of business against Georgia and they only have one loss going into that game, and then we are undefeated, I know Red River rivalries that week, and there's a few other pretty solid games, but with the way that Texas has looked and the fact that game day has already been at Oklahoma, and I know Red River's in Dallas or it's at the Cotton Bowl, I think that there's a pretty good shot that you have a Mizzou team that is by this point probably in the top 15, and Alabama probably back within the top 10. Again, if they beat Georgia, duking it out in Columbia, that'll get game day. Whether that's a good thing or not, we'll see.
If you keep winning, there's always the chance that game day could come.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I'd be looking at that Oklahoma game if it's going to happen, or Alabama.
No, it's at Oklahoma. They've already been to Norman.
Oh, that's right. I was just thinking game day.
A&M.
But no.
A&M also feels likely.
Yeah, for sure. Now, there was one more thing I wanted to say about South Carolina, though, because, like I said, I already thought they kind of sucked coming in. And I think that this game, and I don't want to downplay Vanderbilt at all, because this is obviously great for them. This is a huge step forward from where they've been. They continue to get better under Clark Lee. Pavia's
who's going to leave for Florida.
Yeah, I like that prediction. I do. But I think this game still says more about South Carolina not being very good than it does Vandy being good. And I think Vandy,
the way that they won, I mean, it was just
solid.
South Carolina shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. And I mean, Vandy played a good game, but they didn't need to win.
No, but I will say the biggest matchup I'm looking at right now for this game, this upcoming Saturday, is we know what Mizzou's pass rush is capable of. We've seen it in glimpses or in flashes. South Carolina's offensive line is not good from anything we've seen so far. It is not good. Yeah. I want to see that. I just want to see Corey Batoon let the dogs loose in that game.
Yeah. I mean, without Dylan Stewart, it'll definitely help in the first half, but we're going to need to neutralize him. And this pass protection is still probably the thing that I'm the most concerned about.
Yeah.
Because I think we switched and had Tristan Wilson come in and start at right guard midway through the second quarter. So a little bit worried about that change. I remember seeing Power Mizzou tweet about that. And a few, like I said, with the missed pass protection assignments and just free blitzers coming in off the edge with corners. And it's just stuff that you need to clean up that just hasn't been cleaned up yet. And if that's the weakest link, is 2 or 3 times a game you're getting a free blitzer in Bo's face, odds are Bo's still going to make a play, because he was in the middle of getting sacked and he threw a touchdown today. So,
and that's happened a few times where he looks like he's about to get sacked and still throws a dot.
It's kind of like what it's what we said whenever we came into the season. We thought that Bo was going to be able to mitigate bad offensive line, unlike Brady Cook, who took a historically amazing offensive line for this Missouri Tigers team and just took sacks left and right because he had absolutely no pocket awareness, whereas Bo is doing a pretty good job with his pocket awareness.
Yeah, and Drinkwitz also made a comment about that after last week about how there was a few plays where he thought Bo needed to get rid of it or have a little bit better pocket presence, and I thought his pocket presence was much better in this game, and he got rid of the ball when he had to. If he knew there wasn't a throw to be made, then he would run, at least get back to the line of scrimmage and live to see another play. So I thought that was a nice incremental improvement from Bo this week, because we still have to remember, and this, I think, this is what makes Bo's season so far really impressive, is that this is his first season starting. But when he has those struggles, I think we have to remind ourselves, hey, this is his first season starting, and sometimes he's just going to have to, get those bad plays out of the way, including like the interception he had today. I don't think he makes that sort of play again. I think he will learn from that, and we have ourselves a quarterback
for sure. I mean, he's made growth every single week, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got the confidence.
Is he only one touchdown shy of Brady Cook's total from last year?
I think it's what does he have right now? 7? Here, I should look this up. Because Brady Cook had 9
last year.
Yep. And he had 9 last year. Bo has, I don't think this has been updated. He has more than 5. He definitely has more than 5.
He threw 2 today, so he has 7.
Yeah, he has 7. So he's 2 shy of Brady last year. But if you include rushing touchdowns, I know Brady had a couple rushing touchdowns last year.
Brady, I think, had 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, but I mean, he's almost matched Brady's season from last year as far as touchdowns go. So, but that shows this offense is scoring more. They're converting more. So that's a good thing to see.
For sure.
I really don't think there's anything left to talk about. I think, Mizzou took care of business in this game. A lot of good. Some things to still work on. Got to clean up before South Carolina, but I think that's a game that they're going to be ready for. Drinkwitz wants to get back at Beamer after last year, remind him who daddy is, and crying Shane Beamer in Columbia next Saturday.
I hope we just see him absolutely rage and get a personal foul on the sideline. That would be icing on the cake.
Wasn't that the game 2 years ago where he kicked over a Gatorade thing or something and had
and he broke his foot?
Yep. Yeah. We need to see that again.
I need it.
But yeah, guys, I think that's all we have for this one as far as reviewing the Louisiana game. Big one next weekend. Definitely want to hear from you guys down in the comments below what your thoughts were on this performance. What are some of the things you might be concerned about or that you're super positive about? Definitely let us know. All that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Mizzou fans can find this. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com. Follow the Twitter at showmefb. And then, Braden, before we go, latest movie recommendation for the viewers.
I saw The Long Walk last night, and it's a movie about people walking straight for
I need to see that one.
They're going 3 miles an hour, and that's it. They got to walk, and if you stop, you get shot in the head. And it was really good. Very simple, but also very effective. It was literally just guys walking in a line and talking to each other, making friends along the journey, and then only one of them eventually wins the game. And it's just the journey of everything happening. And it was one of the best movies that I've seen this year.
Well, that's good to hear, because I was wanting to check that one out, but wasn't sure if the whole plot would work for how long is it? Like 90 minutes? Is it a 90 minute?
It's a little bit over 90. It's, I think, an hour 47.
Okay. Because I was wanting to see it, but I was like, man, what do they do for the entire movie though? I get the concept, but what is that going to look like over, an hour and a half span? But I'll definitely be checking that out. So guys, definitely take that advice, go and see that movie. I think that's all we got for this one. Everything will be down in the description as always. We'll see you all in the next one. And as always, MIZ
ZOU.